Hello guys, today we will discuss about the physiological changes during puerperium. So what is the puerperium or postpartum? Puerperium is after the completion of the third stage of the labor to 6 week period is a puerperium or postpartum is defined as the 6-week period commencing after the completion of third stage of the labor. Next point is the postpartum period is the period of time following the delivery of the child during which the body tissues, especially the reproductive system, revert back to the pre-pregnant state both anatomically and physiologically. Means after the delivery, anatomically and physiologically, all system revert back to the pre-pregnant state. Now, stages of the puerperium, mainly three stages of the puerperium: immediate puerperium, early puerperium and remote puerperium. In that immediate puerperium, first 24 hours after the parturitions, means after the delivery, when acute post anesthetic or post delivery complications may occur, maybe sometimes mother have LSCS delivery, otherwise the normal vaginal delivery. In that period any complication occur, we have to observe up to 24 hours. It's called immediate puerperium. And early puerperium, second one is the early puerperium, which extend until the first week postpartum. After the completion of the first week postpartum, we have to visit a mother. That time we have to identify a complication of the in early puerperium period. And third one is a remote puerperium, which includes the period of time required for involution of the genital organ through the 6-week postpartum. After the completion of the 6-week postpartum period, up to the after the delivery to 6 week, we have to observe any complication arise, otherwise the pre or the reproductive or the system revert back to the non-pregnant state. It's called remote puerperium. Now we will discuss about the physiological changes. All body organs is changes during pregnancy. That's why all revert back in the pre-pregnant state. First one is the uterus. Uterus is a main organ for delivery or postpartum period because the fetus is growing in uterus throughout the pregnancy. That's why we will see in that uterus which kind of the changes occur after the postpartum period. Immediately after the delivery, the uterus can be palpated at or near the umbilicus. Means after the delivery uterus, we have to palpate the uterus in the nearby the umbilical. Involution process beginning immediately after expulsion of the placenta with contraction of uterine smooth muscles. After the delivery, after the come out of the baby from the uterus or placenta expulsion, contraction and relaxations occur in the uterus by uterine smooth muscles. That's why involution process is start. And what meaning of the involution? The first is the return of the uterus to a non-pregnant state after delivery, otherwise the after childbirth. In that involution of the uterus, return to the pelvis by about 2 weeks. After a delivery, within 2 weeks, uterus return to the pelvis and normal size of the uterus by 6 weeks. The weight changes of the uterus: 1000 gram immediately after birth. After birth, 1000 gram weight of the uterus, and up to 1 week 500 gram. After a 2 week completion, 300 gram, and 50 gram 6 week after birth. Means revert back in prepregnant stage of the weight of the uterus. The endometrial lining rapidly regenerate within 16 days, and the placental site undergoes a series of changes in the postpartum period. Now we will see in the figure, day by day uterus size is decreased. We are doing a postnatal examination. That time we have to measure the size of the uterus, find out any complication, otherwise the involution of the uterus. In that first day, near the umbilicals of the uterus, the fundus descend about the 1 to 2 centimeter every 24 hours, and by the 6th postpartum day, it is located halfway between the symphysis pubis and the umbilicus. In that we will see the figure 6th day in the between the symphysis pubis and umbilicus, halfway located uterus. And it's a main questions is for viva point of view and also postnatal exam point of view. Fundus day by day how many centimeter decrease, so in that 1 to 2 centimeter every day decrease in the fundus of the uterus. Now cervix, in that figure we will see first A, it's called before first pregnancy and after pregnancy, means cervical changes occur during pregnancy. In that it is a soft immediate after the birth. After the birth, cervix is a soft. The cervix up to the lower uterine segment. Cervix is situated in the lower uterine segment, and due to vaginal delivery is edematous and thin for severe days after the birth. The cervical os, which is dilated to 10 cm during labor, closes gradually. It may still possible to introduce 2 fingers into cervical os for first 4 to 6 postpartum days. Means cervix is made by a elastic tissue. That's why during the labor 10 cm dilated, after gradually it is decreased in size. Now third one is vagina. The greatly distended smooth fall vagina gradually returns to its pre-pregnancy size by 6 to 10 weeks after childbirth. The mucosa remain atrophic in lactating women at least until a menstruation beginning again. Thickening of vaginal mucosa occur with the return of ovarian functions. The reduced estrogen level also responsible for causing a decreased amount of vaginal lubricant, because the hormonal changes occur after the post delivery. That's why estrogen is responsible for vaginal secretion. That's why if estrogen level is decreased, then vaginal lubrication amount of also decrease. So localized dryness and dyspareunia may persistent until ovarian function return and menstruation resumes. Initially, the introitus is erythematous and edematous, especially in the area of the episiotomy and laceration report. Because of their episiotomy, we have to take a stitches, and it's a time for healing process. If episiotomy and laceration have been carefully repaired, hematoma are prevented or treated early. Usually healing should occur within 2 to 3 weeks after the delivery. Hemorrhoid usually decrease in size within 6 weeks of the childbirth. Now next one is a perineum. Swelling completely gone within 1 to 2 weeks after the delivery, and the muscle tone may or may not return to normal depending on the extent of the injury. In the dependent of the injury, because in the vagina, if vaginal delivery is done, that time instrumental delivery may be occur. Otherwise, so during the LSCS, maybe all muscles are affected. That's why it's a dependent on the injuries. The muscular walls of the pelvis organ. The voluntary muscles of the pelvis floor, pelvic support gradually regain their tone during the puerperium. Tear or overstretching of the musculature or fascia at the time of delivery predisposed to genital hernia. Over distending of the abdominal wall during pregnancy may result in rupture of the elastic fibers, persistent stria and diastasis of the rectic muscles. Involution of the abdomen musculature may require 6 to 7 weeks, and vigorous exercise are not recommended until after that time. Muscle wall is a man affected in delivery, because all muscles are arranging and stretching during the pregnant state, and that after the child come out from the uterus, all the muscles reback to pre-pregnant state. That's why during the parturition, all muscles are affected and they come back to 6 to 7 weeks. Now breast, so many hormonal changes occur in the postnatal periods and breastfeeding will start. That's why breast changes occur. In the changes to the breast that prepare for breastfeeding occur throughout pregnancy. Lactation can occur by a 16-week gestation. In that colostrum, first 2 to 4 days after delivery, high in protein and immunofactors. It's called colostrum. Milk mature over the first week, contain all the nutrients necessary. It's dependent on the breastfeeding given to her child. Continue to change throughout the period of breastfeeding to meet the changing demand of the baby. It's depend on the babies how many times she or he is taking of breastfeeding from her mother, and sucking power, then time duration. It's all the depend on the breastfeeding. After next point is after a pen. After expulsion of fetus and placenta, the uterus contract to regain its normal size, weight and size. This is called involution of the uterus. Oxytocin is released from posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Its response to the sucking, which facilitates uterine contraction. Means after a birth, we are given advice to the mother. First given a feeding to her child. That's why if a child is start sucking from the breast, that's time oxytocin hormones is released from the pituitary gland and uterine contraction occur. Now characteristics of the after pain occur during the first 2 to 3 days of puerperium. Abdominal pain like cramps and back pain, strong and regular and coordinated due to hormonal and body changes, body all fluid changes. That's why the intensity, frequency and regularity of contraction decrease after the first postpartum days. Primigravida have a uterus tonically contracted unless clot or tissue remain in the uterus, and multipara uterus contract and relaxation as interval causing after pain. Now next system is endocrine systems. In that endocrine system, first hormone is a placental hormones, is a man responsible for delivery. In that first point is expulsion of the placenta result in dramatic decreases of hormone produced by the placenta. Estrogen and progesterone levels decrease markedly after the expulsion of the placenta, reaching their lowest level 1 week into the postpartum period. Means estrogen and progesterone level is decreasing due to delivery. Next hormone is pituitary hormones and ovarian hormones, right? In that pituitary hormones, in that lactating and non-lactating women differ in the time of the first ovulation because of the lactating women have a different hormonal changes occur, and non-lactating women has a different hormonal changes occur. The persistence of elevated serum prolactin levels in breastfeeding women appear to be responsible for suppressing ovulation. Means in their lactating women have a prolactin hormones occur. That's why prolactin hormones is responsible for suppressing of the ovulation. In women who breastfeed, prolactin levels remain elevated into the 6 week after birth. Serum prolactin levels are influenced by the frequency of breastfeeding, the duration of each feeding, and the degree of which supplementary feedings are used. Prolactin levels decline in non-lactating women, reaching the pre-pregnant range by third week. About 70% of non-lactating women resume menstruation by third month after the birth. Is dependent on the woman's hormonal changes. Maybe 70% and remaining 30% have not come to the menses. The mean time to ovulation in women breastfeed is about the 6 month. Women have a compulsory given a breastfeeding to her child or are around 6 months. The resumptions of ovulation and the return of menses in lactating women are determined by the breastfeeding patterns. Dependent on the breastfeeding pattern, the first menstruation flow after childbirth is usually heavier than normal within a 3 to 4 cycles. The amount of menstruation flow return to woman's pregnant volume. Next one is the abdomen. In that, abdominal muscles produced during the first day after birth means during a pregnancy, abdominal size is raised day by day, and after a pregnancy, after a delivery, abdominal size is decreased. So, abdominal is responsible for changing in postnatal period. During the first 2 weeks after birth, the abdominal wall is relaxed and it takes approximately 6 weeks to return almost to its non-pregnant state. The skin regains most of its previous elasticity, but some stria may present depend on the body structure of the woman. The return of muscle tone depend on previous tone, proper exercise and amount of the adipose tissues. Next system is urinary systems. During the delivery, bladder is affected. That's why so many changes occur in the urinary systems. In that, diminishing steroid levels after the birth by expel the reducing the level reduce the renal function that occur during the puerperium. In that, urine component BUN bilirubin level increasing during a puerperium as autolysis of the involution uterus occur. This breakdown of excess protein in the uterine muscle cells result in a mild +1 proteinuria for 1 to 2 days after childbirth. Then postpartum diuresis, because in the delivery fluid volume loss, that's why postpartum diuresis occur. Within 12 hours of birth, woman beginning to lose the excess tissue fluid that has accumulated during a pregnancy. One mechanism responsible for reducing this retained fluid in the profuse diaphoresis that often occur for the first 2 to 3 days after childbirth. In that, urethra and bladder. During a normal vaginal delivery, bladder and urethra are injured. That's why is a traumatic occur. That's why so many changes occur. In that, we will see first one is if trauma to the urethra and bladder occur during the birth process, the bladder wall becoming a hyperemic and edematous, often with small area of hemorrhage. Birth induced trauma increase the bladder capacity, and the effect of conduction anesthesia combine to cause a decrease in the urge to voiding of the urine. In addition to pelvic soreness from the forces of labor, vaginal laceration or episiotomy, which they reduce the voiding reflexes. Decrease the voiding along with postpartum diuresis may result in the bladder distension, means voiding capacity is decreased, then bladder is distended. Distended bladder pushes the uterus up and to the side. This prevents the uterus from firmly contracting, which may cause excessive bleeding. Bladder tone is usually restored 5 to 7 days after childbirth. After delivery, bladder tone is revert to within 5 to 7 days. Next system is respiratory functions. Return to normal by approximately 6 to 8 week postpartum. Respiratory system come back for 8 to 6 week postpartum. Basal metabolic rate increases for 7 to 40 days postpartum, secondary to mild anemia, lactation, and psychological changes. Gastrointestinal system. In that gastrointestinal system, first one is the appetite. The mother is usually hungry shortly after giving birth, because during the birthing process, mother having a nil by mouth. Otherwise, so they have a take a pen. That's why they are hungry. Second one is bowel evacuation. A spontaneous bowel evacuation may be delayed until 2 to 3 days after childbirth. During delivery, vaginal delivery, otherwise the LSCS delivery, bowel is also affected because upper side is a bladder, middle side is a uterus, and lower side is a bowel. This can be explained by decrease of muscle tone of the intestine during labor and the immediate puerperium, pre-labor diarrhea, lack of food, or dehydration. Gastrointestinal or hepatic functions. Gastrointestinal and hepatic function also responsible for postpartum, in that GI tone and motility decreasing in the early postpartum period, commonly causing a constipation. Constipation is responsible for that. Normal bowel function return approximately 2 to 3 days after the postpartum. Liver function return to normal approximately 10 to 14 days postpartum. Gallbladder contractility increased to normal, allowing for expulsion of small gallstone. Next system is cardiovascular functions. In that, first, in pregnancy state, fetal circulation is occurred. That's why all body blood circulation is different from the after the delivery. So most changes occur in the cardiovascular system. In that, first one is the most dramatic changes occur in this system. Cardiac output decreases rapidly and return to normal by 2 to 3 weeks postpartum because fetal circulation is stopped. Hematocrit increasing and increase the red blood cell production stops. Leukocytosis with increased white blood cells common during the first postpartum week. And that blood volume, the blood volume which increased during pregnancy is eliminated within the first 2 weeks after birth, with return to non-pregnant volume by 6 weeks postpartum. And that cardiac output immediately after the birth, the pulse rate, stroke volume, and cardiac output remain elevated or increase for 30 to 60 minutes as the blood that shunted through uteroplacental circuit suddenly return to the maternal systematic venous circulation. Means immediate after the blood fetal circulation is stopped, means uteroplacental circuit suddenly stop. That's why maternal systemic venous circulation is changes. There's a 30 to 60 minute increase of the cardiac output. In that, musculoskeletal functions, generalized fatigue and weakness is common. Decreased abdominal tone is common because of the after the delivery. Fatigue and weakness is common because the so many fluids come out from the body, and also tired of the mother for taking a pen, and that's why an abdominal tone is also decreased. That's why fatigue and weakness occur. Diastatic recti heals and resolve by the 4 to 6 week postpartum until healing is complete. Abdominal exercise is contraindicated in postpartum period because involution of the uterus naturally occur and hormonal changes occur in the postpartum period. After a postpartum period, we can give advice to abdominal exercise. Next system is vital signs. Vital sign is necessary for maintaining a body. First one is temperature. The temperature is slightly elevated 0.5 degrees for the first 24 hours and up to 38 degrees is known. This rise in the temperature is due to the absorption of the waste product of muscular contraction of the labor. In that, vital sign is occur because the after the delivery all hormones is responsible and whole body fluid come out from the body. That's why transient rise in temperature later on is due to a milk engorgement by the 4th day postpartum. If primigravida mother having they have no any experience to give breastfeeding to her child, that's why maybe. And second one is baby is not sucking properly, otherwise baby is not taking properly of the breastfeeding, that's why milk engorgement occur. Then constipation due to lots of the fluid come out from the body during delivery. Nervous excitations and infection is a post during the postpartum period, maybe woman is not maintaining a hygiene, otherwise तो any problem, otherwise तो any complication occur, that's why occur a infection. In that pulse, the pulse is a full and slow, about 60 to 7 beats per minute, and is known as a physiological bradycardia for 24 to 48 hours after labor. It is due to the rest period after labor, the increase in the circulating blood volume on account of the elimination of the placental pool. The pulse should remain below 100 beats per minute if all is going well. A rapid pulse may be brought on by pain, visitors, excitement, exhaustions, the nursing infant, and hemorrhage and infections. It's a depend on the mother condition and complication of the postpartum period, and it's a depend on condition. Next one is a respiration. This is in the usually relation with pulse and temperature. It's a depend on the pulse and temperatures because of the reduction in the size of the uterus, relaxation of the abdominal wall. Respiration is more abdominal in character. Deviation from the normal may suggest pneumonia or embolism, postpartum embolism. In that blood pressure, no change in counted, but if hypotension is present, postpartum hemorrhage may be suspected. If hypertension is present over 140 by 90 mm of Hg, postpartum toxemia may be suspected. It's depend on the blood pressures of the mother. Some mother have during pregnancy state eclampsia, pre-eclampsia, otherwise the hypertensive mother. In that after the delivery, all body fluid is a transfer. That's why some have a hypotension occur and some have a hypertension occur. If a hypotension occur, then a hemorrhage may be suspected because a postpartum hemorrhage is a mainly condition occur in postpartum period due to any lobes is inside of the uterus, and hypertension is present. It's called postpartum toxemia may be suspected. Blood and fluid changes, markedly leukocytosis and thrombocytosis occur during and after labor. The leukocyte count sometimes reaches 30,000 lakh with the increase. There is also relative lymphopenia and is absolutely eosinopenia. Normally, during the first few postpartum days, hemoglobin concentration and hematocreatin fluctuated moderately due to hormonal changes and body fluid changes. If they fall much below the level present just prior to labor, a considerable amount of blood has been lost. By 1 week after delivery, the blood volume has returned nearly to its non-pregnant state. Because in delivery, all the body fluid come out from body, that's why occur blood and body fluid changes. Now neurological changes. First one is a discomfort and fatigue are common for mentally. After pain and discomfort from the delivery and lacerations, episiotomy and muscles ache are common due to the normal vaginal delivery. Frontal and bilateral headache are common due to the excessive loss of the fluid are caused by a fluid shifted in the first week postpartum. The elimination of physiologic edema through the diuresis that occur after childbirth relieve a carpal tunnel syndrome by easing the compression of the medial nerve. Immediate nerve compression, that's why occur carpal tunnel syndromes. Next system is the musculoskeletal functions. Generalized fatigue and weakness is common. Decreased abdominal tone is common because of the baby is come out from the uterus. Diastatic recti heals and resolve by the 4 to 6 week postpartum. Until healing is complete, abdominal exercise are contraindicated up to the postpartum period. Integumentary systems in their pregnancy, so many integumentary affected because of the Closma gravidarum, Stria gravidarum, linea nigra, hyperpigmentation of the skin. That's why after the postpartum hormonal changes occur. First one is a Closma of pregnancy usually disappear at the end of the pregnancy. It's a depend on the woman. Hyperpigmentation of the areola and linea nigra may not regress completely after childbirth. It may be pregnant in some women. Stretch mark on breast, abdomen, hips and thighs may fade but usually do not disappear immediately after birth. Hair growth slow during postpartum period, and some women may actually experience a hair loss during the postpartum period due to hormones.